This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles.
What's going on, everybody? Patriots post-game show starts now. Where are those guys? Yeah, we're sorry in the comments. It's an Amazon game. It's a national game. There were interview obligations. Mike Vrabel, what? Did he have to go on the set with those guys? Greg, is that probably what happened there?
Yeah, I think so.
It delayed things a little bit. We're here now. Luckily, the Patriots took care of business on the early side. They wrapped this game up in a nice, neat, tidy fashion, beating the Jets 27-14 to improve to 9-2, 8 straight victories now on the season for the Patriots, who are in the driver's seat for, well, maybe not fully the driver's seat, but are looking really good here for a trip to the playoffs, potentially a division title, possibly a first-round bye. Who knows? Here, but again, everything coming up roses for the Patriots right now. Quickly let you guys know our sponsor, as always, is Prize Picks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Download the app, code CLNS50 in your lineups. After you play your first $5 lineup, Prize Picks, it's good to be right. And of course, Omaha Steaks. Get yourself a nice box of Omaha Steaks delivered to your door. Go to omahasteaks.com for a 50% off site-wide sale and use the code Patriots at checkout for an extra $35 off your order. Greg, let's keep it simple. Patriots win 27-14. Felt like it could have been 100-14. Is this a good loss or an annoying loss to you? Like, are you satisfied with the win and the way they played? Again, these Thursday games can be kind of funky.
Yeah, I absolutely hate Thursday night football games, especially for these players and, what the NFL asks them to do, being on a plane in Tampa, playing in, 89-degree weather and humidity, and then 4 days later having to do it again. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous. I don't really read into these games at all. As long as you win, come out relatively healthy, and put together stretches of good ball, that's about all you can expect. And I thought the Patriots did all of those things tonight. I would say, the big worry was the Milton Williams injury, which I asked Vrabel about in the post-game press conference. And basically what he said was, if this was a different situation, like a playoff game or a really vital game, Milton Williams probably would have played. We did see him go back in. He gave it a try before halftime. Didn't love it. I think Vrabel then made a choice to sort of preserve him a little bit. He started to get treatment already so that he could take advantage of the 10-day layoff and be okay. So that was, really good news, for the Patriots. But, on the whole, I'm fine with it. I liked what they did. Drake Maye played great again, had stretches where, he looked like an MVP. The defense, after another opening drive touchdown, didn't give up a first down for the rest of the first half. So, look, at the end of the day, mission accomplished.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to look at it any other way. You mentioned Drake Maye. We're always going to talk about it, but for stretches of this game, he looked like the best quarterback who's ever played. Other stretches, again, some mortal moments, but so it felt to me. So this was one of those. Again, they could have really blown the lid off this thing a couple of times. You had a couple of drops, which definitely hurt. You have Kyle Williams running the wrong route 6 or 7 times, it feels like. And like some things I'm not going to say like, oh, none of it was Drake's fault, but I mean, he was pitching a perfect game there for a little bit. It felt like, really seeing it well. Pocket presence was elite. I think that second half drive was one of the best drives he's put together, just from an individual standpoint. Just the way he was able to manipulate the pocket. I always use the Matrix analogy when Neo finally figures it out and the guy's throwing punches at him and they're moving in slow motion. Like that's what he just had that feel where he could just see everything in the game. Everything was moving so slowly. He was able to do whatever he wanted. That was a master class. That ended up really being enough. But overall, your thoughts on just Drake Maye's day?
Yeah, I thought he was outstanding. Like you said, I think he had 11 straight completions to start a game, which was a career high for him. I think Diggs had a drop. Mac Hollins had that. that was the place where the lid was about to blow off the place and they were about to blow out the Jets. That deep pass, it was perfectly laid in there. Hollins had it. The defensive back, Stevens, knocked it away at the last second. They complete that. The lid blows off Gillette Stadium. Everybody's pants off for Drake Maye. The MVP chants get even louder. But I thought he was tremendous. That drive, I think it was in the third quarter, where he manipulated the pocket like 3 or 4 different times, had the pass along the sideline, the Josh Allen like play, back-to-back plays to Diggs. He had Hollins. Then he finds TreVeyon Henderson. It was outstanding. The guy's heartbeat, I would love to have the access to the catapult system to see if his heartbeat ever raises, because I just don't think it does. No matter the situation, he was coming through in 3rd and longs. Again, it's like routine at this point. You're like, 3rd and 12, whatever. They'll pick it up. And oftentimes they do. It's just, I thought Drake was outstanding again.
It is crazy because it almost gets boring to talk about it, but they're laying it on thick in the broadcast too, because what else are you going to say? Like, it doesn't look like a guy playing his 23rd NFL game or whatever it is. It looks like a 7 and 8 year veteran, and that's what's weird is, like, is he fully baked right now, or is he still scratching the surface? Because it still feels like there's many levels left to go, but he's playing with again the poise of a multi-year veteran.
Yeah, he has so many more levels that he could go up. It's really scary. And, let's also point out, I thought the pass protection in this game was really good overall. I know they made a big deal out of it on the telecast, and I know they're trying to pump up the Jets a little bit. And, Will McDonald is, okay at end. Jermaine Johnson is okay on the other side. They're not slouches, but, it wasn't exactly a big challenge. Get some chips. They have nothing on the defensive interior, so you can sort of, make your attack, make sure you're square on the edges. And then, Drake doing Drake things in the pocket to sort of buy a little bit more time is just outstanding. But you're right. Did you enjoy the Kyle Williams era? The one pass that it lasted? I mean, he was 0 for 3 today, and, like, I don't even think that does it justice. Like, the 3 attempts weren't even close. Like,
no.
If Tom Brady was here, Kyle Williams would never see the field again.
Never, ever, ever. Yeah, it's a good thing that Drake seems to have more patience with his guys. And look, the first one you could put it on May. The deep ball, he floated that one maybe a little bit. Safety gets over. If he puts it out in front of Kyle Williams, maybe he runs under it. Maybe it's a different day for him. But that stop and go situation was terrible. You get 1-on-1 and the safety peels off, and he should have just taken off, and he just stops his route short there. So there's just they don't seem to be on the same page at all, Greg. And again, I don't mean to shift from a win into this, but you brought it up. It was going to be a topic on the show. Did you think you'd miss Kayshon Boutte this much? And I'm not saying not to not to take away from Boutte, but like, Boutte was such a security blanket for May and Kyle Williams. It's like they've never met before.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, no, I didn't think that we'd ever miss Kayshon Boutte this much, but that is in fact correct. I mean, they obviously have a rapport. There's very few times where they're not on the same page together, and there's a lot of value in that. And I think, just other guys have just, sped by him. And as soon as Boutte gets back, he's going to be back to being the number 5 wide receiver and barely ever playing. But at least they're getting contributions from everybody else. I mean, Demario Douglas came up big. Mac Hollins came up big. Of course, Diggs went over 100 yards. Hunter Henry, I'll be interested to see what his workload was in this game. Had to do a lot of work with Austin Hooper being down. They didn't promote a tight end from the practice squad. They decided to put Ben Brown out there as sort of a blocking tight end. Took some snaps from my guy Tonga, which I didn't really like. I was hoping for a Tonga touchdown today.
I think everyone thought that was coming today. It was going to be the blowout Tonga touchdown. It never got there.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought, we're nitpicking at a few things, but I thought the offensive performance was pretty good overall. And I thought the guys up front did a respectable job, and it starts there.
Our pals over at Prize Picks, they deserve some love. If this is your sort of thing, you're into this stuff, you like this daily fantasy sports stuff, you can't do better than Prize Picks. It's a super great app. It's very, very, very easy to use, very intuitive, and the sponsor of the Patriots postgame show, as well as the CLNS Media Network. Don't miss the excitement of this season. Regardless what sport you're watching, it doesn't matter. Mix and match sports. Play just football. Play the 1 o'clocks, play the 4 o'clocks, whatever you want to do. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 different player stat projections. Win up to 2,000 times your cash. Lots of great features on Prize Picks as well, including injury reboots and flex play, where you can cash out early. There's also free squares. Tonight's was Drake Maye, 0.5 passing yards. What does that mean? It's a gimme. You just put it in your lineup, and it makes it much easier for your lineup to hit. Those are going on all the time. There's a lot of other cool offers and promotions, Taco Tuesday, Flex Friday. But what matters most is what you see on the screen right there. You use that code CLNS when you download the app. You get 50 in your lineups when you play $5. Once again, download that Prize Picks app. Use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Yeah, it was interesting, right? You went down a tight end, so you had to run a little bit more Westover, but they also ran 4 wide receivers out there sometimes, which, in the first half I saw that a bit, which they don't do a ton in this game. What do you think the game plan was? Because the Jets typically are a man team. They played a lot of zone in the first half. Maybe they were trying to keep, May into dink and dunk sort of mode in this game. What did you think the Jets game plan was for defending the Patriots, and how did the Patriots respond?
Well, I think that there's a lot of confusion on that team with all the, Sauce Gardner being down. They had some injuries, Quinnen Williams being traded along with Gardner. And, what it looked like to me was Josh McDaniels, at least in the first half. And it seems to me that Josh is one of these coordinators that almost has different game plans by the half. And in the first half, I thought he put a premium on stressing the communications of the Jets. Like he was using different formations and putting, fullbacks out and running backs out wide and changing where guys were. And you could see the Jets weren't really sure what was going on. And I think that they took advantage of that. I thought Drake took advantage of it. I think that Josh knows better than anybody, hey, if we check into this, then they're going to check into this. So, they're not going to be able to get pressure. They're not going to be able to blitz, all that stuff. And so I thought all that stuff was really successful in the first half. It was a little clunky in the second half, but, I don't expect perfection, especially out of these Thursday night games.
Yeah, definitely. This was also, game 2 fully of the TreVeyon Henderson lead back, situation here. And, he legit carried the load the whole time. The first game that Ramondre was out, you saw that they were trying to maybe use, Terrell Williams a little bit as a lead back here. Yeah. Henderson right now with Ernest Johnson, really the only other guy, is clearly the guy. And again, a mixed bag just in the sense that, he gets the ball 19 times in the backfield. Again, so a little bit over 3 yards per carry. I don't know how much of that's on him, how much of it is on the fact that they can't block it up as much. It was slightly more effective than last week if you take away those 2 big runs, at least on a yard per carry sort of situation, but it's still not super impressive. The fantasy guys are going to love the 3 touchdowns, and that's great. And he had a couple of, good decisive runs, but overall, that run game's still not going the way they want it to go. And again, I'm not sure, Greg, the way you look at it, is it a byproduct of what's happening with the guys out front, or is Henderson not the type of guy that can really carry the mail?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I don't think certainly.
And it wasn't bad, but yeah, it's still not what you want it to be.
And I will say, Henderson, I thought, excuse me. His second touchdown run to me was really impressive. It was
really good.
The first time that we've really seen him have some patience and, not just run up into a hole, sort of, just be under control, let things develop, and then sort of hit the afterburner to hit the hole. So the more he can do that, the better he's going to be. I didn't think it was that great overall. I will say he ran physically, which was good.
Yep.
He held on to the ball. The whole offense didn't have a turnover, which is probably, would have flipped this game. Drake had a couple turnover-worthy plays, but, nothing really egregious. And Henderson did a good job running physically, but also holding on to the ball. So, it was decent. I just, it was a step for him. It was a baby step, but, I know he's a threat to break a run every time, but does that make him like lead back material? No, I still think, Mike Vrabel really wants Ramondre Stevenson back and to hold on to the football and then, have a thunder and sort of lightning thing going on between the two of them.
Yeah, as has been the case all season long with May, there's a different, favorite target all game. Each game. It was Matt Collins last week. It was Stefon Diggs today. What was wrong with the Jets? Could they not see the number 8? It feels like every time May threw to Diggs, he was open by 7 or 8 yards. I don't know. He's just kind of getting in behind zone, but whatever it was, he seemed to be open all day long, but also he was there when Diggs needed him for a couple of big catches as well. You had that really fun one. It was 2 catches on that drive we talked about in that second half where he went to Diggs there, one of them on that little scramble dump off where he drew the defenders there. But Diggs was the guy today.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's the Jets. I know in the first half, I didn't look at the final, but they played a lot of zone in the first half. I want to say it was 83% in the first half, and he's gonna thrive in that. And plus, you combine Diggs's knowledge of sitting in zones with Josh McDaniels' ability to motion guys in different ways and switch alignments all of a sudden to confuse the secondary. It's tailor made for a guy like Stefon Diggs, and so that was really good to see.
Yep. We talked earlier, Milton Williams going down. As you said, he could have come back. He was there in the tunnel with Vrabel greeting guys after the game. 10 days off. I'd be shocked if, he misses a game, but, we'll see what happens there. But what did you see from the Patriots defense, particularly the defensive line after he went down? You could definitely see how much they missed him there.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to miss a guy like Milton Williams. He's been terrific this year, especially like the last 3 or 4 games. He's really stepped it up, especially when a guy like Christian Barmore was and Harold Landry were both kind of, sliding off. Barmore did have a sack today. I think he stepped up a little bit with Milton Williams down. They had a pretty heavy rotation, which they normally do. Didn't have Josh Farmer today, which hurts a little bit. I thought Jack Gibbons at linebacker was really good again. Had a huge tackle for a loss against a screen that he sniffed out. They got, Craig Woodson fell down on a touchdown. I thought Hawkins had some good plays. Del Pettis, coming off the bench. This is like 2 or 3 straight weeks where he doesn't play very much, but all of a sudden he's impactful. He had a couple of huge stops today, including on 4th down that clinched the game. So they're really getting contributions from anybody, but we do have to mention the fact that the Jets absolutely stink offensively, especially Justin Fields as a quarterback. The guy, I don't think he can throw it past like 7 yards. And that might be generous. He missed some easy throws. About the only thing he could do was run with his legs. The Patriots weren't great against that, but they were really stacking down. I know they played a lot more man covers than they have in the first half, and I think they were just like, we're going to shut down the running game and just make Justin Fields beat us with his arm, and he can't do that.
Yeah, I guess that's not really relevant to the Patriots, but how did the Jets land on this? Like, how did they start the year thinking that this was the good plan or the right plan? I'm so perplexed by this. How much more of Justin Fields do people need to see to recognize not only should he not be your starting quarterback, that he just shouldn't be a starting quarterback like anywhere. Well, I don't think he should be a quarterback. I will say, I mean, at least
I mean, AD Mitchell,
Didn't
who
help.
just got here in the trade, had like 3 drops. I will say there was his last drop, the one that was over the middle. That's just typical of what you get out of Justin Fields. Like, I'm watching it from the press box, and that dude was open like 2 beats before, nobody around him in the middle of the field. And what does Justin Fields do? He holds in another beat, and then he throws him into traffic, and it's a much tougher catch to make. So, yeah, I don't know. For years I've argued with Felger about Justin Fields, and I keep telling him the dude is he's not good. He's never going to be good. So stop trying to make this happen.
Yeah. And so again, when you look at the Patriots and how quickly they ascended in the AFC East right now, it's also interesting to see everything crumbling around them. And we know the Jets are in full tank rebuild mode. The Dolphins might not be far behind them. And so it's amazing how quickly the script flipped on these situations. And again, how fast it can get away from you. The Jets 2 years ago seemed poised for their kind of ascent up the AFC East. They had the roster in place. They had the right guys. They had big play guys. They're signing guys like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner to second contracts. And it's completely gone to hell here. And a lot of it has to do with the quarterback, which thankfully the Patriots do have. Couple other things we'll talk about, and we'll let you go. We're going to welcome in Taylor Kyles and Mike Cadlick to join the rest of the show. Anything we have not talked about, Greg, that you wanted to discuss, things we missed about tonight's game?
Well, I
Things
thought
things that you liked.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one of the only paths to victory for the Jets was going to have to be a big special teams day, and they came in with the number 1 special teams in DVOA. The Patriots pretty much shut them down today in that regard, so that was big. I will point out one of the things I didn't like in this game was the whole sequence before the end of the first half. I think in some of these games, they're
too cute.
Vrabel and John Stryker are way too obsessed with the clock and ending the half with the ball and all that stuff, where you have to look at it on the other side where you can be like, well, like, let's press the issue. Like, what's Justin Fields going to do? Like, let's have a little bit more urgency before the end of the first half. They had 9 seconds left and 1 timeout. You couldn't get a little closer or take 1 shot, into the end zone. So, didn't love that. I mean, even the week before against the Bucks, when they were obsessed and they almost blew it, going on 4th down, that whole sequence, like, hey, maybe you give it back to the other team like the Bucks, and maybe they get aggressive, and maybe you make something happen. Maybe you get a turnover and then you score points again. So I just think they're a little too obsessed with the clocks at the end of the first half.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either, and I tweeted it during the game. It's just you never put yourself in a position where you could even threaten taking a shot at the end zone because you messed with the clock too much and you didn't give yourself enough time. You crossed midfield with 36 seconds left or whatever it was at that time, and then you put your kicker in a position to try to kick up, 45-yard field goal into, cold conditions, which didn't work out. But yeah, I didn't get that. That's exactly the point is, what's Justin Fields going to do? Like, there's almost no pressure on you at any point in the game here. You can do whatever you want to do offensively. You give the ball back to them. Big deal. Again, it's not,
I mean, and the thing is they had the ball. I think it was like it was like 145. They had all 3 timeouts. They got the ball at the 46 because the idiot Jets had 12 guys on the field after a timeout. And then they advanced the ball like 20 yards. And they had a chance to really step on it, score. I think the turnover before the end of the first half a couple games ago had them a little bit spooked. But again, you have to weigh the competition. Justin Fields, and also, were the Jets really going to get home on Drake Maye? He had barely been touched at that point. So, just a little bit more risk, just a tad.
Yeah. And the last thing, it's not something to not like, but this trend of the first drive thing, touchdown, I never thought that this would happen with the Jets. You understand those teams that'll script up some plays and do some cool stuff and put it all out there, but they just ran it down their throats that first drive. And I was really surprised they converted 4 out of 4 third downs there. What happened on that? What's going on first drives in general? What happened in this one?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand some of the approaches that they come out with. Like, wouldn't you go into this thinking like the only way Justin Fields is really going to beat us is with his legs? So we're gonna double down. I mean, how many more times are they going to give up the edge to Justin Fields? Like, they just made it a little bit, too easy for him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously you could tell Vrabel's starting to get a little bit irked about this. He said something like, "I need to remember that we also played some really good defense after that," but he's starting to get a little pissed. And I think the whole Ben McAdoo scripting the opening drive against the defense, I think that needs to be scrapped. Go with somebody else.
Yep. Well, 9-2 here. They're headed to Cincinnati, where they could theoretically face Joe Burrow. I doubt that that's the case here. And you're looking at a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way, with only Buffalo as a tough one coming here. In Baltimore, I expect that that's going to be really difficult here on the road, but it's hard to see this team falling short of 12 wins, Greg, this year, which is freaking insane considering where we were. I guess the last thing I'll ask you is, again, you don't put much stock in a Thursday night game. This was a take care of business sort of game. Anything, I mean, this was the week you embraced, you fully bought in, you capitulated. Fine. They're good. You still feel the same way? And
sure.
I guess what I want to ask you is not just feel the same way. Were we all wrong and they were better than we thought? Or is this just simply lightning in a bottle, crappy schedule, they're doing all the right things and getting it done? Or is it possible that they were just better across the board and it's not all Drake Maye than we gave them credit for to start the season?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a good team. They, if there were any questions, and I certainly had them and wondered how much they were artificially inflated, it was answered in Tampa Bay. And again, Tampa wasn't at full strength. I expect Tampa to be a force come the playoffs once they get people back. But that was a really good, hard victory down in Tampa. I mean, as long as the Patriots continue to have terrific health, then they have enough at every single position. So as long as that keeps up, they can compete with anybody.
Yep. Thank you to Greg Bedard. For those of you out there that aren't already subscribing to the Boston Sports Journal, you should. Of course, that is the Greg Bedard digital publication that covers all Boston sports, the best Patriots coverage in town with Greg and Mike Giardi. $7 a month or $50 a year. Best deal in town, covers all Boston sports, not just the Patriots. But again, Patriots coverage is outstanding. Go sign up for a membership today. Read what Greg and Mike have to say on about tonight's game. Greg, we will see you next time. Thanks, bud.
Sounds good.